have for kids. They're respectable and they're going to be here and be someone that you would want to employ, someone that we would want to put out in the field and recommend with our name on it, someone that's going to show up every single day and is going to continue to ask questions and try to learn. So it's very broadly kind of what our kids are looking for. I say we have kids on 3 tracks, and pretty much every kid falls into one of these tracks. A kid that's going to go straight into the workforce, leave high school, going to go straight into the workforce. When they leave us, they're going to leave with their high school diploma. If they're in our early middle college program, they might leave with an additional 60 college credits or associate's degree, and they're going to leave with all their industry recognized credentials. So entry level credentials that are recognized by the state, recognized by your industry, for kids to go straight into the workforce and hopefully be not just kind of that entry level worker, but someone that's at least a half step, if not 2 steps ahead of everybody else. Our second set of kids are going to come through our programs, and they're going to go off to a 2-year university or college. So they're going to go off to Mott, finish off their programs, maybe go in an apprenticeship program, and then continue their education. But again, hopefully pretty close to right into the workforce and continuing to work and support our community. And then our third set of kids are going to go off to that kind of traditional setting. They're going to go off to a 4-year institution, continue their education, get a bachelor's potentially. My hope is that instead of the kiddo that's working in the McDonald's while they're going through college, they're getting an apprenticeship opportunity and starting not just a job, but a career. So all of our kids, they are all operating at a very high level and operating in various capacities and going to be ready to enter the workforce in a very major way and very, very soon. Some right today, quite frankly, in the next 3 weeks or so when our seniors graduate, others in about 4 years, but all of them are really ready for employment at this time. Later on, we'll have the opportunity to take you on a tour if you haven't seen our building. It's phenomenal. It's one of my favorite things about coming to work every day. Instead of me just going to see an English class, I get to go see a welder or a nurse or a vet. We have all sorts of critters and creatures that come through our building. Our culinary program, like I said, you will get to experience. They make phenomenal food, sometimes to our own personal detriment, but that's okay. So I just want to say thank you all for being here today. There's a number of us kind of from the GCI and GISD that are around the room. My assistant principal is here, Mr. Manager Jane Shady Rhodes. Miss Massey is here, my boss, Miss Diana Allard. But if you have any questions about our program as we kind of go through things, her boss, Miss Hill, as well. But we have a number of people here. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask us the questions. We'd love to connect you with one of us or somebody else within our department to make sure that you're on the best track to really kind of engage our students and hopefully bring them into your organization. So thank you all for being here. I hope you have a great day of learning. I'm very excited for this learning and I appreciate you. And again, I'll be right here all day if you need me. Thanks.
Jason, very much for your hospitality today, your partnership, and of course, your students.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Very talented. Good morning. I'm Jody Curbison. I'm the CEO here at I'm used to being at home at GST Michigan Works. We are really, really thrilled that you could take some time out of your day. We are here to really highlight some partnerships that we have with some excellent employers, and the real event today is it's called Race to Talent. The thought behind it is getting employers in the room that are skilled at building apprenticeships, kind of have gone through the trials and tribulations and come out the other side and can really talk to those that are kind of still sitting on the fence and determining, what it is that an apprenticeship really is and how much work is there. There's a lot of, misnomers out there. So we're excited that they've decided to share their day. We even have a very skilled young apprentice with us somewhere today that might share his experience as well. So again, thank you for doing that. As I'm sure that you've noticed in recent years, apprenticeships have gained a lot more attention, and at both the state and the federal levels, as well as locally here with us. It may be the only thing that both parties can agree on at this point, it seems. Both sides of the aisle seem to think apprenticeships need more highlighting, and we agree. So they're a valuable way for employers to create a formalized training plan that upskills their employees with exactly the skills that they want them to have. They learn, in a classroom setting or, online, whatever it may be, but they allow them to learn the theory and then put it right into practice when they get out on the job. And so that's very valuable. They also allow the employee to earn while they learn. They don't have to take time off to go to school full time. And so the education coupled with that on-the-job experience and training really is the ideal way for someone to advance in a career. And we've seen that happen. My team compiled several different stats for me to share with you today. So don't get glazed over by the numbers. I won't go too far into it. But in 2024, the state of Michigan had 20,600 active apprentices. And I've got Scott Yudley in the room, so hopefully he's not going to say, We've got new data out as of last week. And that number is continuing to climb as we're all working hard to get more apprentices out there. We added 8,400 new apprentices last year alone, which is another record high. In 2024, there were over 130 different apprenticed occupations, and while that's also record high, it's still growing. Those occupations are in various different sectors, including construction and manufacturing, like you might believe, but also they extend to healthcare and IT and hospitality services and anything you can possibly imagine, pretty much. Michigan ranks 4th in the nation for the number of active apprentices, while we're 10th in the nation for population. So we're really punching above our weight. I don't know that. I was going to say their size. Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Save me. 10.5% of all active apprentices are women. So we got to bring that number up, ladies. But maybe, with a lot of the healthcare apprentices really building steam, we can do that. 48.5% of all active apprentices in the region are youth age 16 to 24. And that's a pretty good number, but we need to add numbers there too, because we know that there are a lot of retirements on the horizon. So we really need to build our bench strength pretty quickly. At GST Michigan Works, we hold standards, which, we can get into what that means later, but the standards then get approved by the USDOL on behalf of the employers who would like us to do that. And so when you work with us, we talk with you and we determine, how it is that you want to go about building your program and which path might be right for you. Currently, we hold standards for 42 different employers for 25 different programs. And we've worked with nearly 200 people that are in pursuit of completing their apprenticeship. We hear a lot about the fear that employers have, that they're going to invest in someone through an apprenticeship, and then once they get them all trained up, then they're going to leave and go somewhere else. And we know that companies are really having a hard time with retention, but we're here to tell you that the studies show that is not the case at all, that really it builds loyalty, and people understand that businesses appreciate them when they're investing in them and in their future. So we have, the studies that we've seen have shown that even after 94% after a year, which I'm not saying they quit a year and a day, but when they check in with them at a year, 94% of them are still with the company. So that's a pretty great number. And that's a year after they've finished their apprenticeship too. So I've thrown a lot of numbers out at you, and you get the point. Apprenticeships are a great tool for both the employer and the employee. The employee can upskill and train on the job, as I mentioned, while earning a wage and being a productive person for their families. They can't necessarily go without a paycheck, so that really helps them. And the employer's really building a skilled workforce as they want it, as they need it, trained to their procedures and their policies and all of that. So today, we're going to hear from some employers in the region who have built apprenticeships for electricians, welder pipe fitters, and automotive tech specialists. Be sure to ask any questions that you have along the way. They are here to share their experience and provide encouragement and clarity around what it takes to do this work. So let's get into the real substance of our day. Again, we appreciate you taking the time out to join us, whether it's to learn more about creating an apprenticeship and learning from our employer experts here today, or if you're one of those experts, we thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
Test.
I think it just goes right to the
Oh.
It was just a lot.
Well, that'll that'll be interesting audio for the camera. All right, so this isn't for you. This is for people who are going to see apparently a video. Okay, thank you, Jody, for the introduction. And I'm Scott Yedley, and I am, it says, wait a second, let me grab the paper so I can see what I am. It says I am the State Administrative Manager. There's actually a lot of us. My specific role is I lead a section that's been at the Department of Labor in Michigan, hi Tiffany, for 6 years now, and our role is to help expand the use of the registered apprenticeship model, so we have a small and growing team of people that try and do that. And we are called the State Apprenticeship Expansion Section. So not real important to you, but it's important to us. But what I like about the title is that we actually don't register apprenticeships in Michigan. Our programs are registered with the U.S. Department of Labor, Office of Apprenticeship. Tiffany Clausen, if you would stand up, please, for a moment. We'll give her a round of applause. Thank you. Runs the office in Michigan. She's a federal employee, and that means that when you register an apprenticeship program, your training as a registered apprenticeship program, it becomes a program that results in a national credential. So upon completion, the USDOL certificate of completion is a credential that's recognized as a post-secondary credential, and that's important in Michigan because we're trying to grow the number of those programs. So that's how we register programs. The other thing that we don't do is we don't expand registered apprenticeship. I wish we did, right? Because we need a training model that does everything registered apprenticeship does at the state. Because we bring people in. Stephanie Von Velakis recently rejoined our team. She was in the federal desert for like 3 years and then came back to Michigan and returned home and is now helping us to grow the use of the registered apprenticeship training model. But we don't use the model to grow talent. We should be, and we will, but we're not there yet. So who does the expansion in Michigan? Who do you think does the expansion work? Jody gave you a clue. Jason talked a little bit about it. You do, right? How many of you are employers? Raise your hand. Okay, you guys aren't employers? Do you employ anybody? No? Okay, yes they do. We almost all are employers. And registered apprenticeship simply takes your current training and registers it in a framework that allows it to be a program that results in a USDOL credential and makes it eligible for a lot of other funding and benefits overall. So if you do the expansion work, which you really do, especially those of you who have programs, I met one apprentice who I know is in a program already. Are there others in the room? There might be if there's not, okay. So I was glad to meet him. And he's going to tell us a little bit about what that's like, and I hope his business is going to tell us a little bit about the benefits they get. But overall, Jody introduced like some of the benefits of a registered apprenticeship program. What caught your attention? What kind of things caught your attention? Retention. Okay, she said 94%. That's not like just a guess number. We actually, in Michigan, we measure the 1 year after based on unemployment records that every employer has to file. And we find out exactly how many of those apprentices 1 year after are still employed, and it's 94%. That's like near the highest it's been. I think 1 year we were 1 point higher. But that's really impressive, and it means something to employers. There's other benefits. I can tell you one of them. I talked to another Tiffany that's in the room with you here that's like a peer, and not Tiffany Clausen, but you're very close to another Tiffany, I think to your right, 1C. And Tiffany was saying that her president or operations manager or director, somebody at a higher level in the business, is very interested in starting an apprenticeship. And would you be comfortable to share why that was?
We are in the school of trade,
Okay.
and our workforce is retiring.
Their workforce is retiring. Yes, thank you. I'm not embarrassed when they talk about the silver tsunami, right? I already retired, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. I've got that taken care of. But what happens is, in a registered apprenticeship, there is, we call them a race to talent, because there is no faster way to transfer knowledge from your current workers to your next generation workforce than a registered apprenticeship. If you think there is, or if you know of a model that does that more quickly, let me know, because I shouldn't be saying that out loud in public or writing it, right? There's no faster way to transfer knowledge. First of all, every apprentice is assigned a mentor. The mentor has the skills the apprentice needs, and that transfer of knowledge begins on day one, because they walk in, they don't know everything they need, or they wouldn't be an apprentice, and they start picking up those skills that are critical for them to be successful and for the business to be successful. At the same time, not only are they getting paid, so it's meaningful, but they've got work in front of them. It's not just academic learning, it's academic plus hands-on learning, and it drives the need to have those skills. But the academic piece relates directly to what they're learning on the job when we do it right. It's kind of hard to do that, but nursing does it very well. Healthcare has done it that way for a long time. A registered apprenticeship does just that. And for that reason, those skills transfer quickly, and they're exactly, if you've got the right mentor, the skills that you need. They don't have to have the same mentor all the way through the program, but they always have to have a mentor during their training. Am I missing any key skills other than the fact they get a credential, it immediately starts a transfer of knowledge? From a workforce development perspective, we get to win early because they're hired on the first day of the registered apprenticeship. So we're already winning, right? They have a job. A lot of the work in our peer divisions in the Department of Labor in Michigan, we're trying to train somebody to get into work, right? This one we get to win early. It's kind of a side benefit, along with the fact that we don't do the expansion and we don't do the registration, which is also kind of nice. So what do we do? Stephanie, what do we do?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
We come to these events and other things like, and we try to recognize the fact that you are actually doing the expansion. GST has some gifts to give out if those are gifts, but they're really recognition of the work that you're doing in this region to grow talent. And it's phenomenal. I mean, Jody gave you some numbers, but you have, if you don't want to hold your own standards, which a lot of companies want to do that, some do not, they'll help you do that. She talked about them being an intermediary or a group sponsor. So if we're employers, we can talk with them. They'll host the program, help us keep track of hours and make sure it's registered, and that your apprentices receive credentials upon completion. It also opens you up for other things like funding opportunities, which can be a benefit. But really, these Race to Talent events are set up for us to recognize the work that you're doing, and you're doing really well in the region. Yes, I am going to step on the number. She gave you 20,600. In 25, that's the 24 figure. 25, well, actually, as of March 18th, I saw last night, we're at 24,485 active registered apprentices in Michigan. Still holding at fourth because California's got like 90,000, but they have quite a few more residents in the state than we do. And you won't be surprised that Texas comes in next. The one that is a little bit irritating is Ohio, because they're only a couple hundred ahead of us. So if you look at the stats online from USDOL, they're really just a couple hundred ahead of us right now. It used to be 3,000, so we're getting closer. But that is sort of the role. That is what a Race to Talent event is all about. Am I missing anything? Pre-apprenticeship, Tiffany, go ahead.
Our system will wait for you. It's a little slow. I don't want to say that's how the federal government works, but we all know it is a little slow, so we're over a month behind that. Michigan tends to do really, really well the second half of the fiscal year for some reason in registering apprentices. So we are getting, like Scott said, we are getting extremely close to Ohio. We used to be a couple thousand. I don't, if we ever got close to Texas or California, I would personally go around to every program and hug them. But we are getting closer and closer to Ohio. We are knocking the socks off of Indiana. And then I also cover Illinois, and we are doing pretty well.
So I would say, in closing, give yourselves a round of applause for the work that you're doing to grow registered apprenticeships in Michigan. And wait a minute, am I introducing breakfast or, oh. And yeah, as in a, oh, Tiffany. Oh, do you want to do pre-apprenticeship? Thank you for pulling me back on track. Before we have breakfast, we should talk briefly about pre-apprenticeship. So meet Stephanie Von Velakis, who I already explained was a federal employee, now works for the state of Michigan. Please stand up and talk to us about pre-apprenticeship programs.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for saying my last name correctly. You all don't have to. But it's nice to be paired with Tiffany. And so pre-apprenticeship has a training and employment notice for the federal government. So they give us a framework on what a quality pre-apprenticeship is, but it's technically not monitored. So us at the state took that quality framework and
employer programs. Okay, now there are the intermediaries, the Michigan Works offices, and a couple other intermediaries in there. When I say intermediaries, those are the entities that have decided to hold standards, and then employers can sign on to those. But the bigger number that I want you to have is that in Michigan, the number of active employers under intermediaries, okay, is 1,707. Huge number. That number just keeps going up every year, okay? The reason why I think that's super important is because if you add the 841 and the 1,700, that's really truly how many active programs we have. Because even though the employers are signed up under GST or other intermediary, they have it is their program, because you can customize, even under an intermediary, you can customize your program. So if they have the boilerplate set up, you can say, because I guarantee you no two machinist shops out there do things exactly the same. I mean, wages are different, technology at each shop. Lunchtime. That is actually, I will tell you that right now, that is actually not that bad. I was at a different school, and that one scared, every time it went off, it scared me. Okay. But that is not bad. The other one was more like a fire alarm that was going off, and it was, oh, that scared everybody. But, so because no two employers are the same, you can, within the intermediary, you can then say, well, this is our wages, this is our selection procedure, this is what we actually, within reason, you can customize the on-the-job learning side of it. And then even their like RTI or the classroom side of it, you can even say, well, we like 90% of it, but maybe your company requires underwater basket weaving for whatever reason. So you can say our apprentices will take this specific class for underwater basket weaving. So you can customize even that within reason. Okay, so that's the great thing about being under an intermediary. The other thing that I want you to know is that fiscal year to date, so everybody knows that we start October 1st. This year it felt like November 15th. But we've added 22 new programs so far. And then we've also added 74 new occupations. What that means is that registered programs have added or expanded. So we've added to existing programs. Many of those new occupations are under the intermediaries, because as they bring those employers on, they may say, you might be able to talk to an employer, and that employer may say, well, I want, we've come out with some new AI occupations, and maybe that's what they want. So the intermediary will add that occupation specifically for that employer, and then they just continue on. But I do want you to know that we do cancel programs, okay? Our regulation states that you have to have an active apprentice within a year. So if you're a brand new program, within a year, you have to have an active apprentice. If you're an existing program, and let's say you complete your last apprentice today, by next year today, like so April 21st of 2027, you have to have registered another apprentice during that time. We will reach out and we'll say, hey, are you still going to be keeping your program active? We do have some grace period. Trust me, I do not just go in and cancel programs. But if you're like, no, we're completely not going to be able to do anything for a while, we can cancel your program. The great thing about this is that it is all voluntary. There's nobody that comes in and says you will have a registered apprenticeship program. I like to say I'm the good office under the federal government. And what I mean by that is we don't do fines. We don't shut you down. We do not even cancel your program unless we've tried everything under the moon and it's just not working. We will work with you as long as it takes to get that program to what is the best for you, okay? And then the only other thing that I wanted to say is next week in the state of, well, actually across the nation, is National Apprenticeship Week. there are events that are happening throughout the week. I think this event is actually on there. I usually wait, as a state director, I usually wait until the first person puts one on there, and I look at that date, and I'm like, okay, we're open. So January 15th, and then I say put them on there through July 31st. Any event, we try to list it on there. Where I say that is, is there any employers in here that are registered? Whether they're under, okay. So I will be getting with you guys. Proclamations. I love proclamations, okay, because those are, I call that low-hanging fruit. Those are so easy to do. I will even get that paper ready for you to where all you have to do is sign it, okay? Then you send it back and I will upload it into our system. Any event that you have where you're talking apprenticeship, we can put that event on our system. The reason why I say that is because, so a while, like a year, 2 years ago, I was the state director for Michigan and Indiana. I was at one point when I started as a state director, I was in Indiana. Of course, when I went there, I was like, we've got to beat Michigan down there. Then I came back and now I'm like, and Indiana was doing really good. So I was like, okay, now we got to beat Indiana because they're doing, okay, that one's a little bit scary. I was like, okay, now we need to beat Indiana. Now I am over Illinois and Michigan. We are currently ahead of, I think in Region 5, we are the #1 in our region, and that's because of the Carpenters. Thank them, because they went on and listed every single one of their schools to tools event. Has anybody seen that? That's amazing. I mean, just amazing. But they went on and they actually listed every single event that they had for that. But our proclamations are really lagging. Illinois has 140 proclamations. We have 35. So, and again, those are easy. So if anybody wants to do a proclamation as an employer, you don't even have to be registered actually to do one. If you believe in the model, I will get you a proclamation to sign, and then you can send it back and I will upload it for you. Okay. But that's on apprenticeship.gov. So if you go to apprenticeship.gov, up at the top it says resources, and if you click on resources, you'll see in the middle column it says National Apprenticeship Week. You can find events, you can find proclamations, and then if you want to add something, you can also add it into that system right there. And then as Jody and Scott were putting out, the numbers that they put out is also in there. Same thing, tab of resources, then you drop down and you're looking at the data and statistics. I highly recommend when you look at that, you look at where it says apprentices, look at by apprentice location, because the number that Jody put was 100% correct, but that was just for the state of Michigan. We count apprentices that live in Michigan, but maybe they're down at the border, so they actually work in Indiana. So they're under an Indiana program. We still need to count them because they are Michiganders. They live here, okay? So go by apprentice location. I'm trying to think if there's anything else real quick. One new thing that's on our site is it's a shot clock. So if you do decide to have a program, 30 days from submission, you will be, and actually I will tell you this, we're way under that. Michigan, we used to be really quick. I lost 75% of my staff last April, at the end of April. Now I'd say within a week to 10 days, we can have you registered if everything is really good. If it's not, then we just go back and forth a little bit, and we make sure we get all of the things fixed. I'm still aiming for that under a week, but we just came out with a new circular that says that within 30 days you will be registered. Okay, so.
I have a question.
Yep.
So you were talking about events for next week for National Apprenticeship Week. Would they be events that we're hosting that are like private, just to show what we're doing, or is it like we're inviting the public? Kind of?
Either or.
Oh, either or.
Yeah, so.
An apprenticeship dinner for our apprentices. Is that something that would be like, yay?
Yes, because when you go to put it in there, especially if it's for your apprentices, definitely put that event in there, okay? And if you have any questions, please, like, I will help walk you through that, everything you need. The great thing about under events is that you can pick, is it public or is it private? Okay, so if you don't want just like Joe Smith showing up saying, hey, I'm here for your dinner because they want a free dinner. You mark it as private, and then, they know, hey, okay, don't try to get a free dinner out of them, which is not a bad thing. But by all means, yes, you can mark it as either or. Any other questions? All right, perfect. I hope I didn't keep you guys from breakfast too long. I always hate doing that.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you. And I'm glad, but. All right, so we're gonna give everybody some time to network. There is some breakfast out, help yourself. There's coffee and juice, I believe, down there, and water, so help yourself. And then we'll get started again shortly.
So we're gonna get started with our employer panel. So my name's Ray. I'm an apprenticeship specialist at GST Michigan Works. I work with Heidi and we develop the employer programs. And today we just kind of wanted to hear from the employers that have running successful programs as to what makes them successful and why they wanted to do that. So if you guys can just introduce yourself, tell us your name and your employer, maybe the apprenticeship program that you guys have.
My name is Jacqueline Leo. I am HR representative with LaFontaine, and we do apprenticeships for like all of our pretty much any realm of our dealership, from sales, service, things like that. But we really focus on our service technicians and the apprenticeships with them.
My name's Travis Richardson. I'm a service manager with LaFontaine. Here to talk about our mechanical technician apprentices.
I'm Mark Barassa. I am the HR manager with Rolls Mechanical. We have two registered apprenticeships with the state of Michigan and Michigan Works, one through our electricians, and then one with our HVAC guys, which we just established and put boots on the ground as of Monday, which was really nice. We got 4 people going and giving them a great opportunity, and we're looking to see how much more we can do.
Nice. I'm Kim Frederick. I work in HR at Miller Industries, and we have registered apprenticeships for electricians and welders, and we're looking to add a third in the construction trades shortly this year.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Steve LePage. I work for Miller Industries. I run the manufacturing and the plants, also help Kim organize and oversee the apprenticeship programs at Miller Industries, and just always looking to grow our programs. And we're thankful for, our educational institutions, Mont and Michigan Works, and Department of Labor, who helped us establish all of our programs.
Great, thank you. So you guys probably already got the list of questions that we sent out. So I'm just going to go through, ask some questions. Nobody specific, feel free to chime in whenever you'd like. So the first question being, what was the primary motivation for starting a registered apprenticeship program rather than relying on traditional hiring?
I think we all know in the trades that, the guys, gals, everybody that's doing the work that are our go-to people, a lot of those people are getting ready to retire, right? And if we don't do our part, everybody always says, oh, it's a dying workforce. Oh, there's nobody wants to get in the trades, but nobody wants to do anything about it, right? Nobody wants to actually put their money where their mouth is and actually be that company that gives people an opportunity. So that's a huge part in it is, we're going to get these people in, be able to mold them into the employees, the technicians, the tradespeople that we want them to be. We're a mechanical operation. HVAC is our primary trade. There are so many HVAC companies out there that you can hop on board with, work for a summer, work for a handful of years, and they can teach you. There's a lot of hacks out there too, and you could spend 3 years learning the wrong way of doing it. This gives people an opportunity to get into the trades, use their schooling that they put a lot of money and time towards, and get a career out of it, and we can mold these people into employees that we want them to be.
I think you nailed it. I will pretty much echo that exact same thing. On the service side of it, in the automotive world, I'm sure we all probably had a car, driven a car, needed repairs on our car. And why does it take so long to fix my car? It's the labor behind it, right? It's the labor to get our car into the shop, to get it fixed, to get it repaired. So to find someone that can physically do the job and have the ability to work on this car, it's not just necessarily nuts and bolts anymore. There's a lot of electrical behind it. There's a lot of diagnosis behind it. There's a lot of schooling from the manufacturer behind it as well. Especially evolving in the new world of EVs and electric vehicles and hybrids, that level of education just goes higher and higher and higher. So to try and find a place that will grow you and teach you and educate you like the dealers and the manufacturers will, this program is something that we had to start to keep our business surviving.
Yeah, a lot of the same for Miller as a growing manufacturing company. As we try to hire experienced people along with the inexperienced, we struggle finding those journeyman electricians, those journey person welders. And my background is I was in the IBW for 32 years, so I went through the apprenticeship, so I kind of knew that. So as we struggled with the hiring, we said, well, let's go ahead and start branching out and start our own program. I just used my background, kind of what I went through when I was in there, and we kind of structured it the same way and used a lot of the same principals, but it was really just the driving force and all the skilled trades that we just couldn't find the senior journey person, you know, to do it. So we started growing our own, you know, and it's been successful.
The senior journey people are making good money right now, right? You know, they're working and they are desperately needed at their company. So even if you do get them at your table, you're still looking at a counteroffer, right? You know, I mean, if our best person comes to us and says, hey, I'm gonna go, I'm counteroffering them, right? I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to make them stay, so.
All right, thank you very much. So the next question is going to be, did you develop the program in-house or did you utilize external partners? Example like community colleges or industry associations?
So LaFontaine, we pretty much developed it like in-house. However, we have help from tremendous amount of people. So our service apprentice stuff was started out in-house, kind of with us and our OEMs and things like that. And then we kind of ventured out to Michigan Works and try to reach out to you guys on how to get more and things like that. And so we work, you know, very well with Heidi, and she's wonderful. And just kind of getting that apprenticeship going is even more with USDOL and now the MARC program and things like that.
Similar for us, like I said earlier, I used my background and my own experiences to start it, and then we reached out to Mott for the you know, the academic portion and worked with them on structuring our courses and that met the requirements for our programs, and then also the Department of Labor and Michigan Works to help us with the structure as well.
Very good. Anybody else?
I mean, also, I forgot to mention as well, we also work with OSTC and OCC and different schools as well to get all of our qualifications.
Good.
One thing we've noticed too is since we've made it established, it's more attractive, is that there's more people talking about our company too, right? You know, we got it out there, we got the apprenticeship out there, and now it's not just like these younger kids coming to us and going, hey, I want to work with you guys. It's somebody on LinkedIn responds to something I put out there, somebody on my Facebook or our company Facebook, and it's just more of us out there, right? Which is huge. You know, word of mouth is the best referral you can get.
Yeah. Just put it into an example, I was over at Rolls the other day doing applications with the 4 new apprentices, and the joy and happiness that those guys had, they were like, this is the best place I've ever been in my entire life.
That was awesome.
Yeah, they were just so thrilled. They were like, it was kind of you know, kind of mind blowing to see that, and you can feel it in the room, right? When you're with them, they were just ecstatic to be there. So it was great.
Didn't you just win some kind of an award?
Yeah, we won the National ACHC Contractor of the Year and a National Workplace of the Year too, Top Workplace of the Year as well. We've won the Detroit City Free Press Workplace 4 years in a row now. To get nationally recognized was a monster, was huge, you know, and Carly Rolls, our owner, she works really hard to make sure we're doing the right things, and it trickles on down, right? So we all work really hard to make everybody know that we're trying to make this a company people want to be at, right? You know, and a company that people can succeed and stay a long time at. So, you know, it's very rewarding, you know, to get those awards. You know, I mean, I've never been the type of guy that needs a pat on the back, but it's pretty nice. You know?
Did you miss any awards, or we're good to move on?
Yeah.
Just kidding. All right, so the next question is going to be, how did you go about finding and selecting like your first apprentices? Like, what was the process like?
So I love this question because I always tell my apprentices or young and up-and-coming technicians in the world that this is a partnership, it's a relationship, right? You guys kind of have to choose each other. You're taking a experienced master technician, someone that's made this their life, their trade, you know, they've put their kids through college, they've bought their home, you know, this is their life skill, and they're going to pass that knowledge and wisdom down to someone, right? So if they're going to take what they've spent their entire life doing and learning, they need to make sure they're passing this on to someone that's almost worthy of it, right? Is it someone that's going to take that knowledge and do good with it and be the technician we want to see, the technician we want fixing our cars? So I absolutely love to, you know, basically have the technicians interview their own apprentices or have that conversation. Or typically we'll have a you know, newer individual start in the shop that wants to be an apprentice at a lower level position, just so we can see their work ethic, right? Is it someone that shows up on time? Is it someone that stays late, that goes above and beyond? Are we taking the individuals that are excelling and want to work hard and want to grow and you know, cultivated them? That's what we basically hire these apprentices to do, is we're making sure that they're the hardest working group we have out there to grow them to that next level.
And I think the MARC program is going to help with that too.
We had a bunch of applications come through. We opened it up and we use Indeed for our application source, right? And so we just opened up that. Obviously, we marketed the daylights out of it, and we ended up getting 140 applications, which is pretty good, right? And it was really nice to be able to talk and vet these people. And you're always looking for a skill set. I'm always looking for a good person, right? With that skill set. But here I was more or less looking for that good person that had that hunger, and you could feel it, right? So the conversations weren't necessarily about what you know, it's about who you are. And so digging deep into who these people were and how hungry they are to be a part of our team was huge. Out of 140, the 4 guys that did stick, we made it known, like, you guys are the cream of the crop of 140 people. Right? Know that you guys, nice work, right? Because we could have chosen somebody else, but we chose you for a reason. But also know that there's also 136 people waiting behind you.
Yeah.
That's really
Very
key.
good.
Yeah, so we were super small when we started our apprenticeship at Miller Industries, and we're a big proponent of promoting within and then backfilling with general entry people. So we had some younger personnel that were in a general assembly type role, and we asked them if they wanted to be part of it, and we started out with them, and then we kind of stick to that theory right now. We promote within, and then we backfill at entry level. So, and then we've grown, of course, over the last 7 years. But yeah, we just started small.
Right. Good.
I think another thing too is like to get the word of mouth to our apprentices. We've been doing, at least for the last 4 years that I've been here with LaFontaine, we've really been honing in and going to career fairs at high schools and letting the students know and that this is something for them. This is something, yes, you can go to school and get college, get credits, things like that, that will help you also, but you don't also have to go that route. You can go into our apprenticeship as starting off and things like that. So that's also a thing that we really like to encourage our team to go to all the high schools that are local to all of our locations.
Good.
I wish we had those when we were in high school.
Right.
Hey, this
Yes.
is what you can do after high school.
Right.
I had no idea,
Yeah,
and
career fairs are huge, and I think the students really appreciate it. We go to a couple of them in like the Milford area, and the students, every time we attend, they are so appreciative, and like just to hear something from it, we get so much good feedback, and even from the principals and stuff, and how appreciated they are from us as well. It's validating, and same thing, like you just like want to give yourself a pat on the back. So you're like, you're showing up for the new upcoming roles too.
doing God's work for the career industry, right? Because to me, you're not hiring anybody that day.
Right.
And as a
Right.
tradesperson, as a person in the trades, I'm probably not hiring anybody that year or maybe even the next, right? It's exposing what we got going on and filling these kids in.
Like you said earlier, getting your name out there, getting
Yeah.
the business out there, right?
Exactly.
And they'll see the truck. I'm like, oh, I talked to that guy
Yeah,
at the
bingo.
career fair, right? Exactly.
We're a
Um,
big proponent of using GCI as well,
Right.
because they already take the best of the best. And then they really, when we go through the interview process with selecting co-ops that come and they go to school in the morning and they come and work with us in the afternoon, their senior year of high school, the instructors really do a nice job of prepping them just to get ready to come and interview. If they're not ready, they won't let them interview. Like
Right.
they are really, prepping them. So we can hopefully ideally pick the best of the best in the area by partnering with GCI.
Perfect. Yeah, that's fantastic. So the next question has been talked about a few times today about retention and one of the benefits of apprenticeships. So what has the return on investment been in terms of employee retention and productivity been?
So I'm a big fan, similar to Miller, of promoting within and growing within. So we've been very successful basically taking these individuals that come new into the automotive world, training them, teaching them, growing them. Again, we are a big culture company, so that's something we strive ourselves on. So if you get a fun working culture, you get a fun working group of individuals, it basically just creates a great culture and people want to be around good culture. So a lot of our employees are excited to be there, which means a lot of our apprentices and new people are excited to be there as well. A lot of our shops you walk into, you can just feel that energy. You can hear the music. You see people are excited to be there. They're happy to be working. So when you take those individuals and grow them up in that environment, they just keep reproducing that no matter where they go.
And we did an apprenticeship with 5 HVAC service technicians about 4 years ago. And present day, they all still work with us, which is humongous. And then also present day, if you take a group of 4 technicians, in comparison to other groups of 4 technicians, our profit margins with those guys are the best, right? Because one, they didn't come in with a massive skill set demanding crazy amount of money. Because in the trades right now, there's guys coming in demanding $60 an hour at times, right? You know, these are guys that came in at a good rate, solid rate, a livable rate, and have worked their way up, but are still at a point where they're going out and doing a lot of our brokerage work, where brokerage work is a lot of easy stuff, right? You're going up to a 5-ton rooftop unit, fixing it. When it comes to HVAC, commercial HVAC, that's like, if you don't know how to do that, you don't know what you're doing, you know? So those guys are going out there at a certain rate, going out there at a certain profit margin, and absolutely killing it. And so I guess they, you know, when they came in, they saw how much we invested in them, saw how much time, energy, and money we invested, and it really opened their eyes like, whoa, these guys really care about what I'm doing, right? So I'm gonna really care about what I'm doing for them.
Yeah. We've noticed with our apprentices, we see value in as little as 3 months. I mean, it might not even be that long, honestly, because I think the big concern is, you know, is it gonna be value add? And absolutely, absolutely. We have 3 journeyman electricians and 1 fitter welder, and there's really nothing more rewarding. And then we also built a feeder program. So we've got the feeder program from year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. We try to keep it balanced so we're not graduating everybody at the same exact time, and we keep moving them through. But there is nothing more rewarding than seeing somebody with a small skill set and then seeing where they get after 4 years. It is amazing. Yeah.
Very good. All right. Moving on to the next question. How has the program helped fill specific hard-to-fill skill gaps within your workforce?
So especially in the automotive world, right? Like I previously explained, we have hybrids, we have EVs. I think every manufacturer has a fully electric vehicle at this point. If you think about internal transmissions and engine components, right? I always compare technicians to doctors, right? There's a doctor and then there's different kinds of doctors, right? So wherever the biggest need is, right? We will cultivate and grow that technician, obviously with what they want to fix, what they want to repair, what they want to do. But you will get those technicians that want to be very specialized in a very specific area, and you pair that with the best technician we have, right? And that's how you'll create your new, we call them heavy engine technicians, but the guys that want to dig down and tear apart engines and tear apart transmissions, or if you get a hybrid specialist that like taking apart battery packs and doing things like that, if you get 2 like-minded people together that have the same goal, the same wants, the same desires, normally those 2 will work very well together, and you create that next specialist in that region.
Does anybody else want to answer that question?
I know for Miller Industries, a lot of what we do is custom, and it's industrial electrical. It's, you know, the fitter welder program. We look for top-notch skill set for MIG welding. So it's not super easy to just go recruit at that highest level, like Mark said. It's hard. They're asking for top dollar. So if you can start building, you know, I think our skill gap is, now I feel a lot better about it than I did a few years ago, because I feel like we're doing the right thing and we're actually adding to each of our programs as well. So.
Good. All right, moving on to the next question. How do you measure the success of the apprenticeship program now that it's been established?
Really how fast they get into vans, and it's not necessarily how fast, but how fast and efficient they get into vans, right? You know, we did put together a little incentive program for the guys that are training these apprentices, and if they get into a van within a year, they get 1,000. If they get into a van within 2 years, they get 500. And ideally, these guys are getting in vans no later than 3 years, right? You know, so, but the one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to just scare people into vans, right? We want to make sure people are getting into vans and running their own tools and running their own calls, and they're comfortable, they're doing it efficiently, and they're not out there causing, you know, starting more fires for us. Because ultimately, if you go out there and screw something up, somebody's got to go back out there and fix it, right? You know, so. Oh, yeah. Getting into a van means you've been trained. Now you have a Rolls van that you're taking to and from home. You got a cell phone. Like, you're going out and running your own calls without a partner next to you.
So our program, we actually have like trackable metrics and timelines and expectations through the actual apprenticeship program. In order to be able to work on cars commercially in the state of Michigan, right, you have to have certain licensings and things like that, right? So there's certain metrics as well. Paired with that as well, where you're working on, for example, your brake certification or electrical certification, you're working side by side on the manufacturer training as well. So when you're working towards your electrical certification with the state, you're also doing the same thing with the manufacturer. So the knowledge is coming from both sides there. But besides the actual program and the metrics and the knowledge, additionally, once the technician graduates out of the program, which is an 18-month program, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the term flat rate, but most automotive technicians are flat rate, right? So every hour they spend on a car is tracked, is metriced, is ranked. So obviously the more efficient a technician is, the more money everybody makes in that equation. So a productive technician, is an efficient technician and is a, successful technician.
Very good. All right, so we've reached the last question, and that is, what advice would you give another employer looking to start a program, an apprenticeship program?
Do it.
That's pretty short and sweet. Do it. I think it's fantastic. I've been with LaFontaine for 13 years. I started at the bottom. I worked my way up. So that's one thing that I always try to cherish and carry on to that next generation or that next new young employee is, I started out fresh out of high school. I didn't know anything, didn't know anyone, didn't know anything about cars, and this company grew me. So I feel like it's my right to grow that next generation and find the next, Travis out there that wants to grow and be whatever in the automotive world. It's my job to give them the tools to be successful.
I've got a few ideas. For Miller Industries, definitely having ownership very invested. This is something that the Miller family was very, very strongly wanting. So having that ownership from the top down that they wanted to develop skilled trades certainly helped. Finding a strong educational partner helps. Registering with Michigan Works has been greatly helpful for structure, and there's a lot of tracking involved, and we've found that using Michigan Works for that helps a ton. And support, of course, from the supervisors, like you said, the mentors, the ones that are actually training this group is key as well. So those are some of the things that I thought of.
Perfect. Yeah.
Very beneficial.
Yeah, do it and don't forget about them, right? Invest in these people.
Yeah, it's
Invest-
beneficial.
It is. It's very beneficial. A lot of times you're like, oh, we did it, and oh, we got it out on social media, and oh, it's okay. Now to the next thing, right? And you got these people in an apprenticeship for 3-4 years, right? And it's like, invest in these people. They want to see more schooling. They want to get more training. They want to get with other technicians. They want to see that ownership is invested in them, right? So. A lot of times at certain companies, maybe ownership isn't there, but they have trickled that feeling down to the people that are. But everybody's got to be on the same page when it comes to an apprenticeship, and everybody's got to want it, because if you want it, but 3 other people that are important and are in the mix don't, then once your hands are off of it, you never know what's going to happen. So you got to have everybody invested.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much to the employers. Everybody give them a round of applause. Take your mics off, probably leave them on the chairs. And then I think we're going to hand it off to Heidi, and she's going to do an apprenticeship panelist.
Want to come on up, Vincent? You can sit in either or chair, don't matter. And then you just want to hook that to your shirt. And you can put the other piece in your pocket probably. All right. Good? All right. You got it? Yep.
Where were you? I'm not going to talk, but I'll just
All right. Feel better? You're not alone. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Heidi Powell. I'm one of the apprenticeship specialists here for GST Michigan Works. I'm excited to come here today to discuss the apprenticeship programs that we have. And we have our apprentice here, Vincent. So the U.S. Department of Labor emphasizes the importance of registered apprenticeship programs. and providing available training and skills for individuals such as him. So I would like the apprentice to introduce himself.
I'm Vincent Claiborne. I'm an electrical apprentice at Miller Industries, and yeah, I've been there for about 2 years now.
Okay.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Thank you for being the only apprentice that showed up.
All right, so we'll get right into the questions. How did you first find out about the registered apprenticeship program with Miller?
I found out about the program just through kind of the community and just like word of mouth. I got interested, I guess it was probably my like middle of senior year, and we were doing our senior exit presentations. And so I was looking online and I saw some things about that Miller Industries had an apprenticeship program. So I kind of based my whole senior exit presentation off that, which I think helped me out a lot.
So you didn't have anybody that pushed you towards that, somebody in the family or anything? You just kind of did that?
Well, I've also known, I played sports with one of the Miller's kids before too, so I've had kind of inside connections too. And
It's not about what you know, it's about who you know.
yep, exactly. Yep.
What was the application process like? Was it competitive?
Yeah, so the application process, it was pretty straightforward, but it was competitive. Kim actually just told me that it's the most applied for position at Miller, at least the electrical apprentice spot. So being able to get that opportunity and get in there is really, I'm really grateful for. So.
Awesome.
And that's for every position in the whole company. Everybody wants to be an electrical.
Congratulations. Was it difficult to get accepted into the program?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it was difficult just because of how many people were applying for that spot, and it's not like they just hired me right away either, because I was fresh with no experience. So I was going there after school for about 2 months, just for an hour and a half, and they kind of saw how I worked, see if they liked me or not, and then once I graduated, I could start full time, and I did that for about a month before they officially hired me in as an apprentice.
Okay.
I'll add to that, I think, there's value to those co-op programs like Vinny was part of, and Millers are invested in, the Fenton, Lake Fenton area. We do a lot of the co-ops there. That's part of our, like our streamline of getting these guys in, and it's been very popular with GCI also. I know it's not a co-op program, it's a work-based learning program, I think is what they call it. But, yeah, I mean, it's something that they want to be invested in as a family and take local kids and local schools and promote the area. So Vinny was fortunate enough to be one of them young men.
So how
Pardon the interruption, instructors. We are going to go into secure mode at this time while we're looking into something. Again, we are now in secure mode at this time. Thank you.
Okay.
No strong emergency.
Okay. All right. So how challenging was it to manage both on-the-job training and your classroom?
I would say that's probably one of the toughest parts of the job, is being able to manage like all the schoolwork I'm getting throughout the week, and then also working 10 hours a day or 60 hours a week, whatever it is, and really just being able to stay on top of the schoolwork is the most important thing, because you fall back one day and then you got to catch up the next day, and you got no time after work to do anything, and so really just staying on top of it is the hardest part.
Okay.
Getting paid for your work, you're not getting paid for your schoolwork.
Yeah, yep, so it's a little less motivating to want to do it.
A little less motivating.
Yeah.
How long did it take after starting, did it take you to show some interest in the apprenticeship?
Well, I showed interest probably January of 2024, and I was fully registered by June, so it was quite a longer process, but I was keeping in touch with them the whole time, and I started working there by March, so it's not like it was 6 months of doing nothing. They were getting to look at me, see how they liked me working, so.
Okay. Is the related, the classroom training done on company time or your own time?
That's done on your own time, so they pay for all the schooling. I don't have to worry about paying for my classes or anything, but when I have like homework, or the school, like the class will say you're gonna have to spend 10 hours a week at like minimum on doing your schoolwork, and taking all your tests or whatever, then it's yeah, it's very time consuming, I guess.
Okay, so last question. How did the apprenticeship program help you?
I would say it's helped me in a lot of ways. The main one is, I mean, I started my career at a very young age, so it gave me that opportunity to be able to jump right into it rather than having to go through a 4-year college degree and then figure out what job I'm about to get after that. But it was I'm very grateful too, because just getting to know so many people and just all the different kinds of people. I mean, I work with guys who are having grandkids and tell me about their grandkids, and I'm also working with guys who are just buying their first house and, you know, just having their own kids. So it's cool dynamic getting to meet all new people and all that good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So like when you go through your apprenticeship, you dreaming out, you know, are you, what kind of difference do you feel that's gonna make once you're training the next apprentice?
I think it'll make a big difference just because I'll be able to kind of show them how I do things rather than, like, I guess I'll just be able to show my own experiences and not have to, you know, like right now if I'm working under someone, I kind of have to how they do it, and I get to learn from them. But if I got someone under me, it's more of, yeah, more like what I want to do, I guess, yeah.
Do we have any other questions?
I have a question. Where are you taking your classes through?
I'm doing them through Mott. So, and the classes are they're normally just like one class a week, like blocked up. So it'll be like an 8-week class, and it'll be Monday like 5 to 8:40. So it's a long, like all day deal pretty much. I'll get off work half hour early, so I get to go get some food or maybe do some homework I forgot to do the night before, and then go to class at 5.
Any other questions?
I have a question. I just wanted to bring up like what Vinny and the other apprentices go through. It is the most sought after position in our company, but I give them a ton of credit. Like when you're going through the recruiting process, like anybody can say, "Oh yeah, I'll go to school. Oh yeah, you know, sounds easy, right?"
Mhm.
It's not easy. They are dedicated. You know, there's days where it's nice out and it's like, oh, do I do? You know, I want to go outside. No, I got homework to do. You know, they give up a lot.
And the big test at the end of it's not easy either.
No, it's not easy. So anybody can say that they can do it, you know, but to actually walk the walk is, I give them all credit.
Oh, yes, I do too.
It's
It
Yeah,
is.
and I was also just hanging out with my buddies, and my one friend was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to call off my 10 a.m. class tomorrow," and it's like, well, you got 10 a.m. class, or you got to go work 6 a.m. to 4:30, and then go to class at 5 p.m. So it's a lot different than just doing the normal college route, I guess.
It's a big picture mentality, right? After 4 years, like you said, at 22 years old, you're gonna have a journeyman's license. You're set for the rest of your life on a good wage, right?
Yes.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I do want to thank Vincent for coming and doing our panelists today. Your insights are invaluable to us. Next, we're going to be taking a tour of the building. I'm going to wait until Jason comes back. So this will give us an opportunity to see the different facilities that they have here at GCI and the things that they do with their students. For all the employers that were on the panel, please come back to the room after we do the tour so we can do the awards and stuff and pictures. And then everybody will receive a mug today when you leave. All right. Okay. Okay. Do you know, are you want?